To experience massive riches, we must be in a state of being rich. Being rich is an internal state. It has nothing to do with what's going on outside of you. The internal state of riches is a decision that you make right now, and then you become it right now. Once you make this decision to become rich, then you can become rich. The key is to be rich and not to try to get rich. As you've learned through quantum physics, all that can possibly exist exists right now. Even the version of you that's rich and experiencing riches already exists. When you choose to be a certain state right here and right now, you activate the fastest possible path to creating your desires. So what is being? Being is something that you choose to be right now, not later, but now. And being is the fastest way to create things, because it causes an instant shift in the creative process. Material manifestation follows instantly to the degree that you've become that state of being without doubt. Again, to the degree that you've become that state of being without doubt, your reality will quickly shift to reflect it. The fastest way to create anything is to simply be whatever you wish to create. And if you're not rich and you wish to become rich, you must decide right now to be rich in this moment. And you must know this with certainty against any evidence to the contrary. If you will do it with certainty and clarity and keep holding that state of being, you will very quickly begin to experience riches. Now, I'll be honest with you. Not many people can pull this off because they doubt that this is true. But we all have the capability to do this. First, you must declare knowingly and with certainty, I am rich. Even if you don't have any money right at this moment, you're still affirming the truth because at the quantum level, you're already rich. After you declare that you're rich, don't start thinking, questioning, or worrying about it. This will only introduce delay and doubt and then negate your state of being. All you have to do is declare your state of being and accept it as a fact. Now, this is not difficult to do. Remember the last time you were in a state of being broke or sad? You didn't question whether it was real. You didn't question whether or not you were really broke or sad. You just took it for granted that you were. You believed it without questioning it. You just accepted it, and that was that. Now all you have to do is to do it with riches. Be rich, think rich thoughts, believe it with no questions asked, and the universe will obey. Hopefully you can see how fruitful it is to look for physical proof like your bank account or material riches, and let what you see influence the non-physical like your thoughts and state of being. When you do this, you're looking at the results and then letting the results influence the cause. It's like short-circuiting your system. It only leads to more of what you're focusing on. For example, if you begin to look around and you see that you're broke, and you let that dictate to you that you are a broke being, then you keep thinking from a broke point of reference, and you think broke thoughts and thoughts of inability and poverty, and then what happens is you remain broke. The right way to do this is to never look at the physical conditions of your life and let that dictate to you that this is your true reality. Keep this in mind. You are not your present conditions. You simply cause them. The correct thing to do if you're broke is simply to choose to keep a state of being rich in your thoughts as much and as often as you can, and then act as if you were rich. No matter what your circumstances look like, no matter how broke your physical world looks, act as though you were rich. And this will turn around the physical to match your thoughts and state of being. Always remember, the physical, what we experience in our lives, always follows the spiritual and the mental. This is the way the universe works. You can also create what you desire by thoughts, words, and action. But this is a slow way to go about things. The faster way is by changing your state of being. To acquire riches, it's much, much easier and more effective to be in a state of riches, to make your being one of riches, to feel riches, and to think riches. You'll have a hard time becoming rich if you feel poor and then think, speak, and act rich. Your state, how you feel about yourself, your being, your I am declarations, this is the fastest way to acquire riches. Now, how do you change your state? The way you change your state is to decide to change your state. It's as simple as that. And you can do it now. It's like being unhappy and simply deciding that you're tired of being unhappy, and then you decide to be happy. And everyone has done this before. Now just do it with riches. Nothing and no one slows you down or speeds you up except yourself. To the extent that you recognize this, you can change your world. Riches are a whole lot easier to acquire than you believe it is. It's actually very simple. The hardest part is the re-education of your own mind, a thing that's totally within your own control. The problem is we do too much thinking and not enough being. It's okay to think, but thinking is a tool, just as your arm or your leg is a tool. You don't use your leg all the time. You only use it when it's necessary. The mind is a powerful tool, and it makes many things possible. Yet, it's so powerful that it tries to take over and control us. The mind should be used only when necessary. And the fact of the matter is, it's only necessary about 10% of the time. Research has shown that about 90% of our thoughts are repetitive. Most of our thoughts are worries about the future or reliving the past, which you've already learned is detrimental to your success. Remember, when it comes to your mind, you should be the watcher, not the thinker. Learn to watch your mind. Just as you observe things outside of you, start observing your thoughts as well. In this way, you cease to be under the control of your mind. You start living in the present instead of some imaginary future. Your tensions fall away, and your success is guaranteed. However, do not judge your mind or curse it if you realize that you've been under its control. The mind is a great tool if we learn how to use it correctly. You already know how to use it. Use it only to make your intentions, what you want to create and experience, and then give it the appropriate thought and images to bring these things into your experience in the moment of now. As we've discussed in the previous lesson, in the moment of now, you never have any problems. You may have events, but you never have any problems. Problems can only exist in the mind and in your thoughts. Remember, all your problems, if any, are imaginary, and all of them are in the future. If you can handle or resolve something in the present moment, it's not a problem. The good news is, if you're still alive and listening to me, it means that no matter what problems you faced, you have never failed to get through the moment of now. If you're here listening to this, then you've survived every moment of now. You've never failed to get through the moment of now successfully. Nothing now is a problem. But the minute that you start worrying about the future, identifying with your mind instead of using it, you start to have problems. So learn to be the observer of your thoughts. Use your mind to think in the right way, and turn it off when you're not using it. In truth, you do not need to use it most of the time. Think about this. Have you ever been in a life-threatening situation that came up suddenly and unexpectedly? What happened then? Your mind shut off. It didn't have the time to think. However, in that moment, something inside of yourself, we'll call it your real or your authentic self, took over, and in a most intelligent way handled the situation in the best way possible. In any true emergency, when the mind has no time to think about things, you usually become present in the moment right now. In fact, you become extremely clear on what you need to do in the moment. This shows you how much control you have if you cease letting your mind control you. Since what we're being is so important, what's the most powerful state of being that we can be? The most powerful state of being is simply feeling good. Nothing is more important than feeling good. And you have absolute control about that Because in any moment, you can choose the thought that makes you worry or the thought that makes you feel good. You can choose the things that excite you, or you can choose the things that worry you. You have the choice in every moment. From now on, start saying to yourself, I'm going to look for a reason to feel good. I'm going to dig up every possible thing from the past. I'm going to look for every possible thing in the moment, and I'm going to look for everything in the future to make me feel good. Even if you don't have any reason to feel good, make the decision that you're going to feel good one way or the other, no matter what. Promise yourself that. No matter what, I'm going to feel good. If I have to ignore everybody, if I have to never watch TV again, if I never have to pick up a newspaper again, if I never have to see that person again, I'm going to feel good. Feeling good and being happy is the cornerstone of your success. I repeat, nothing is more important than feeling good in the moment. And you have absolute control about that because you can choose the thought that makes you worry or makes you happy. You can choose the things that excite you or the things that worry you. You have the choice in every moment. Now let's continue with this discussion and see why this is so important. Each one of us has a built-in inner guidance system of higher intelligence. This inner guidance system offers us a simple way to know if we're moving towards or away from our desires. It does this by offering us positive or negative feedback that we call emotion. Positive and negative emotion is an automatic guidance system designed to let us know the appropriateness of whatever's happening in every situation in our life. It applies to every thought, every word, and every interaction. Positive and negative emotion, or feeling, is a powerful guidance system, but few people know about it or use it. Taking advantage of it is as simple as paying attention to whether you are feeling positive or negative emotion in any moment. The universe responds only when harmony exists. It doesn't matter if it's positive or negative harmony. It's not possible to have a negative emotion such as worry and at the same time be in harmony with anything that you truly desire in your life. Therefore, whenever you're feeling the negative emotion of fear or worry, you are in that moment literally asking for or inviting something that you do not want or the lack of something into your life. It's important to be sensitive to the way you're feeling. In fact, be sensitive to this all the time so that you'll always know whether or not you're attracting what you want or what you don't want. And once you realize you're in the process of attracting what you don't want, it's important to stop the negative attraction. This is very important, so make sure you understand what we're saying. You have this built-in inner guidance system that you can use to create the results you desire. Whenever you feel the negative emotion of doubt, fear, or worry, recognize your inner guidance system is telling you two very important things. First, there's something you desire. Otherwise, you would be feeling no emotion at all. And second, anytime you have feelings of worry, fear, or doubt, it's telling you that you're not focused on what you desire, but you're focused in the opposite direction. When you recognize that you're feeling negative energy or emotion, it's important to understand that what you're really feeling is lack of positive energy. When this happens, the first thing you should do is say to yourself, I'm worrying, which means I'm feeling negative emotion. This is an indicator that I'm not in harmony with what I desire. Then in that moment, use a positive self-correction. Stop the fear and worry and doubt and reinstate whatever it is that you desire. This is easy to do because you're never more clear about what you want than when you're experiencing what you don't want. What you don't want is always the opposite of what you do want. So at this point, say to yourself, I'm going to stop worrying and I'm going to correct my thoughts and feelings. Otherwise, I wouldn't be feeling this negative emotion. And the reason I'm feeling this way is my thoughts and feelings are focused in the wrong direction. Then turn your attention away from what you don't want and on to what you do want. In this moment of positive self-correction, and by turning your attention to what you do want, the negative attraction will stop. The moment the worry and negative attraction stops, the positive attraction begins, and your feeling will change from doubt, fear, and worry to positive expectation. This will happen when you use the process of positive self-correction in the moment. Feeling negative emotion or focusing on what you don't want is nothing more than a choice, and you have no one to blame but yourself. It's like tuning into a radio station that you really don't like. Then you keep commenting to yourself and to others how awful that one station is. If you're stuck on that one station, realize that you can change the station in an instant if you want to. In the moment of noticing the negative emotion, change the station. For example, if you're thinking, I can never do anything right, change it to, I'm always doing the best I know how. And if you're thinking, this'll never work out, change it to, what I desire is on the way to me right now. This is the time to use your affirmations. Your inner guidance system will always let you know what you really think and feel by sending you the positive or negative emotion. However, you override this inner guidance system anytime you start feeling bad about yourself or worrying about the past or the future. When you do this, you're interfering with the real purpose and power of your inner guidance system, which is to guide and direct your life through positive and negative emotion. The negative emotion warns you that you're off track and you're not moving towards what you truly desire. If you create your own negative emotion, you're unable to use this one as the best guidance system that you can possibly have. Now, as a society, we have this collective belief that there are certain things that we must feel bad about. In fact, if we don't, we would be looked down upon as behaving inappropriately and demonstrating that we're apathetic or insensitive. But this is totally false. We said nothing is more important than feeling good. Again, why? By being in a place of feeling good, you're able to notice any negative feelings and use them as warning signals to guide and direct your life. The real purpose of negative emotion is to tell you what you have your attention on is not really what you want and what you need. When you start feeling negative, it means that you have your thoughts on what you don't want, and you're making your choices that are leading you to a place that you don't want to go. So pay attention to this negative emotion. Stop and ask yourself, what am I currently thinking, believing, or choosing that's causing me to feel bad? Then correct the thought, belief, choice, or action that's causing you to feel bad so that you can feel good. When you feel good, then you're on track again. As you practice this more and more, you will receive the answers that you need more and more, and with more clarity. If you ignore the negative emotion and you keep doing what's causing you to feel bad, little by little you will subdue your power to change because you're going to cut yourself off from your inner guidance system. Being in a place of feeling good allows our negative emotions to play the role that they were designed to play. We have an inner mechanism to give us clear and immediate feedback to guide our lives. When we're focusing on what's in our best interest and what creates more joy in our lives, we automatically feel good. When we're focusing on what we don't want and that which will lead us to more pain and unhappiness, we feel bad. It's a simple formula that's very, very accurate if we allow it to be fine-tuned and then we use it. So choose to feel good more and more of the time. I'll repeat this again. The most important task that you have every day is to stay in a place of feeling good. When we're in a place of feeling good, we're in a high-frequency vibration that attracts more and more of what brings us joy. All you have to do is stay in a place of feeling good. And when you do this, it allows things to unfold effortlessly and continue to take form in your life. Here's a simple technique that works for me. I'm human, and I also have moments of doubt, fear, and worry. However, as soon as I'm aware of them, I say to myself, reach for the thought that feels best. In other words, I flip switch and reach for the highest possible thought in that moment. I find something to think about that makes me feel good in that moment. This makes me feel good, and now I'm on target and focused on where I want to go instead of where I don't want to go. I think everyone should have this statement tattooed on the inside of their eyelids so that they'll never forget it. And that statement is, reach for the thought that feels best. In any moment, always reach for the thought that feels best, the one that makes you feel good. Now you can see why I began these lessons with the flip switch. The flip switch is the key to manifesting your desires. Most people do not self-correct or flip switch in the moment. They allow thoughts that do not feel good to accumulate, and then they try to use positive thinking later on to correct the situation. But then it's too late. Forget about positive thinking. Just go for any thought that makes you feel good in the moment. One that allows you to shift your focus from negative emotion to positive emotion, and hold it for 17 seconds, and your life will change dramatically. It'll allow you to take back your power and focus on what you want instead of what you don't want. Now, the next thing we want to discuss is the concept of certainty. Certainty is the most powerful force and the antidote for failure. In fact, everything is possible to the extent that you're certain. The opportunities and abilities that you have right now are enormous. What happens is that the universe moves the building blocks or quantum particles around depending on the information it receives and the certainty of that information. It's a scientific as well as spiritual fact. The speed at which you create what you desire is based on the certainty that you have about receiving your desire even before you ask, and the certainty and the guarantee that you have it already on the quantum level. Now, this means you must never look at anything and say, but I don't have it. Never think to yourself that you cannot or do not have it. This is your mind talking. Learn to control your mind. Be the rider, not the horse. You can acquire faith and certainty with practice. And one of the best ways to acquire faith is through persistence. Persistence is a slight step ahead of faith in that you can use it to build faith. But every step that persistent takes has to be followed by a step in faith. By persisting, even when it looks like you should give up, you increase your faith in the outcome of your desire, which brings forth your desire in the fastest and easiest possible way. Hopefully you're beginning to understand why you can be certain and why there is absolutely no reason to worry. Why worry? There's no reason at all. The universe runs on certain laws, and these laws never fail. If you know these laws and you apply them, why would you ever worry? After all, now that you know how things work, you can predict the outcome based on your application of these laws. Because these laws work without fail, you do not need to get caught up into how your desire will come to you. Let source energy take care of the details, and it will take you there in the best possible way. Let it work its magic by not resisting the moment of now. Just do your part, and let it do its part. It's the fastest, most effective, most enjoyable way to create anything you desire. It allows you to be happy and relaxed because you know everything is working in your favor. The creative process is simple once you understand it and apply it. I remember being interviewed on a talk show, and the interviewer asked me this question: what's the hardest part about creating what you want? I thought for a moment and I replied, learning to stop figuring out how you're going to get it. And he looked confused and he asked, well, what do you mean? I said, if you try to figure out how you will get what you want, you limit yourself to what your ego can see and do. All you have to do is turn your goal or desire over to your unconscious, which is connected to the universe or the quantum field of energy, as well as everything else and everyone, and then let it bring to you whatever it is that you desire. Then just follow your inner promptings or intuition and act on the opportunities that come your way, and you'll get there. The truth is, there's no one way to achieve anything in this world. You can make it easy, or you can do it the hard way. You can flow with the universe, or you can flow against the universe. What I told the interviewer was the truth. Forget trying to orchestrate the physical world to bring you what you desire. Instead, state your intentions and then let the non-physical world arrange the physical world to bring it to you. And if it looks like it's not happening in the moment, don't fight it or resist it. When you fight and resist against the present moment, you're fighting fruitlessly against the effects and at the same time strengthening the cause. Let us say, for example, that your circumstances are such that you see yourself as broke. If you act from a broke perspective, cutting costs, being stingy, being bitter, scared, and jealous, in an attempt to prevent yourself from becoming even more broke, what are you really doing? Can you see how you're perpetuating and energizing the broke conditions? By constantly believing and thinking about being broke, you're setting yourself up to continue to be broke. Remember, the universe always gives you what you focus on. It's at your command. And the way to fix being broke is to take on the state of being rich internally and then think, speak, and act from that perspective. Why do things repeat themselves? For example, some people keep failing in whatever business they try. Here's the reason. They keep recreating the same circumstances and situations over and over again until they change their thought pattern and change into a new state of being. If you seem to be living a life like Bill Murray in the movie Groundhog Day, who kept waking up to the exact same experience day after day, and you seem to be recreating the same problems repeatedly in your life, then it's time to change the cause that's producing the same effect over and over again. One of the things that keeps us from declaring what we want is our fear that we won't get it or will be disappointed. Some people also have a belief that what they want may not be in harmony with what God wants for them. They don't want to take the risk of wanting the wrong thing, so they just settle for what's coming along. If this is how you feel, perhaps you can look at it this way. What if God or source energy trusted us and gave us free will to create whatever we choose for our experience? What if our desire and what source energy wants for us is the same thing, and all we have to do is make a decision that it's already ours and that we can have it? Since we're one with source energy, it makes the most sense that our desire and the desire of source energy are one. And since we've been given free will, that means that we can choose anything we desire. What's the point of source energy creating us and giving us free will and then not letting us choose what we desire? Free will means just that. You have a free choice to be, do, and have what you desire. If source energy wanted us to choose something else, then we would not have free will. Another reason people cannot imagine having what they desire is that most people have been programmed to believe that it can happen for other people but not for them. A common pattern in many of my coaching clients has been to expect the worst, especially when it's something that they really want. And then I ask them, why do you choose that thought instead of believing that you can have it? And most explain, because I'm emotionally prepared when bad things happen if I don't get what I want. Or, I won't have as far to fall if I don't reach too high. Then I teach them that when they think this way, they're setting themselves up for the worst to happen. The greatest power we have in avoiding the worst is to focus on what we want to happen. Again, just because you can't see the possibility of having what you want in your physical reality at the moment, it doesn't mean that it's not on the way to you. Here's an important truth. 99% of what you create in your life is complete before you see any evidence of it in your physical reality. The problem is that you've trained yourself to believe that there's no forward motion until you actually see some physical proof. However, here's the catch. As you only focus on the absence of physical proof with worry and doubt, you're pushing the very thing that you desire further and further away from you. If you plant a seed in your garden, I'm sure you have enough common sense to know that your creation is well underway before you see any physical evidence. It's highly unlikely that you go out in the garden and you stomp on your seed that you planted, and then you demand to see the results right now. You don't worry about it. Instead, you allow the natural laws of the universe to do their work, and the small seed that you planted matures into what you desire. If you look at your life, you'll see that you've planted many wonderful seeds of creation. However, in your impatience, worry, or lack of understanding concerning the principles of the creative process, you've focused on what you don't have or what you don't want, and therefore you've destroyed and sabotaged the seeds of your desire. What we're talking about is deciding on what you want and then only giving your attention to that, while intentionally not giving your focus to the things that you don't want. We've been talking about manifesting what you want. However, many people say to me, I don't know what I want. If this applies to you, then here's an easy process to help you to become clearer on knowing what you desire. First, on a piece of paper, and on one side, list what I don't want. List everything that you can possibly think of that you don't want in your life. Now, this is very useful because once you're clear on what you don't want, it's very easy to find what you do want. Now, take another piece of paper and reverse each statement. For instance, I don't want to be broke. Then what you want is to be rich. So restate it. I desire to be rich. Then write a short paragraph on what being rich means to you. Do this for each item. Then focus on the things that are most appealing to you and start with those. You see, it's very easy to focus on what you want. Now, I've shared this technique with my clients, and they found it very useful. However, in many cases, after they discovered what they want, it's not uncommon that they immediately start to create resistance. The resistance is created by doubting that they can have it, and then making statements that counter it happening, and continually looking for it to happen, feeling suspicious that it won't happen, and then trying to figure out how they're going to make it happen. As you've already learned, this is why most people don't have what they want. Because they're not sure they're going to get it, they speak words of doubt, which creates a vibration that blocks it and then keeps it from showing up. In their mind, they think they have to figure out where it's going to come from, and then they got to get busy to make it happen. They don't give the universe a chance to orchestrate the details and flow the information and events into their life because they're too focused on trying to figure out how they're going to make it happen. The lesson here is, once you've offered your intention and declared what you want, you must release it. Then the ideas and the inspiration will synchronistically come to you, and soon you'll have what you want. Remember, when you desire it and you don't resist it, it comes every single time without exception. Your job is to identify what you desire, ask for it, allow it, then say thank you for it in advance because you know it's on the way to you. You see, everything in life is a question of intent. We've learned that the first step in the creative process is our thought about something. Start observing what you're thinking about. Since all thought is energy, ask yourself, where is my energy going? When you catch yourself worrying or thinking any thought that's opposed to what you want to create, disconnect your energy from that thought. Do this literally. If you find yourself worrying or thinking that things are getting worse instead of better, disconnect your energy circuits from that thought. Train yourself to do this immediately. Don't wait. When you have a thought that's not in alignment with your highest vision, change it to a new thought right then and there. When you find yourself thinking or doing something that's not in alignment with your intention, decide to make it the last time that you're going to do that. Whenever a self-defeating thought comes into your mind that says, it won't work, I'll never get there, I can't have what I want, then you must stop that negative attraction immediately and say this, I refuse to be pessimistic. I release all doubts. I reject all fear and worry. And I now instruct my subconscious mind to hold on to and then insert your intention or desire here. When you do this, there's no other way in which the universe knows how to respond. It responds to thoughts and feelings. If we keep our thoughts and feelings consistent with our desire, we cannot fail. Now, in the beginning, this process will entail constant moment-to-moment monitoring of whether your inner guidance system is sending you positive or negative emotion. It'll involve continued choice-making consciously. And what you'll find out if you undertake this challenge is that you'll become very powerful and you'll be able to create anything that you desire. Again, most of the negative attraction in our life is because the majority of our creative energy is spent on wasted worrying about the past and not living in the present. And we can actually measure the effect that this has on our life. In fact, I'm going to do the mathematics for you right now. Imagine a memory from your childhood that still controls your life. Perhaps you had an abusive childhood, or you didn't have a mother or a father, or you had parents that were unable to love you in the way that you wanted. And you hold on to that memory and you carry it with you every day. Well, let's say that memory uses up 20% of your creative energy. Now think for a moment of a difficult or failed relationship, an insult, or some type of memory that you should have reconciled but haven't. And let's say that this takes another 5% of your creative energy. Let's take a look at an event in your life where you were very disappointed because it didn't work out the way you wanted it to. And let's say that you use another 10% of your creative energy to keep that memory alive. Now you already have 35% of your creative energy invested in the past before you get out of bed in the morning and handle your daily activities. All right, let's continue. You also know that you should take care of your body, but you don't. So you have a negative feeling about your body that uses up another 5% of your creative energy. Now we're up to 40%. Now how about that cluster of fears and worries that control your life? The fear of failure, fear of relationships, fear of the future, fear of taking risks, fear of being broke, fear of not finding someone to love you, fear of losing your job, fear over your health. Add them together and see how much of your creative energy is invested in those fears and worries. And let's say these fears and worries cost you another 30%. Now, based on these mathematics, what you've got left over to create your life is 30% of your creative energy, because 70% of your creative energy is invested in your past, not living in the present, and worrying about the future. And all of these are energy leaks. Can you see the problem here? Not only does it cause serious mental and emotional problems, but physical problems as well. Instead of 100% of your creative energy going to where it needs to go to support your life and your body, you're now distributing this energy to their fears, negative thoughts, and past memories. Every single day, the results are energetically drained from your system. The fact that you're keeping these thoughts and memories alive also causes your cell tissue to get formed in a time warp, because you should be in the present moment, but you're not. And what eventually happens is your investment in hanging on to these fears, worries, and memories requires more energy than you can produce, because every day you keep adding more to your history. So at some point you have so many energy leaks, there's not enough creative energy left to supply your needs. On the physical level, the depletion from these energy leaks forces you to take vital life energy from the reserves in your cell tissue. What happens then? Guess what? You're a candidate for a variety of illnesses to attack your immune system and cause serious damage. This vital energy cannot be used because it's leaving your electromagnetic field. And in the end, all we get out of worrying about the past or the future is trying to live in the present moment on the energy we have left over. The end result is that this drains not only our body, but our ability to create. Our ability to create is severely damaged because in order for our energetic system to create, it requires at least 70% of our creative energy to be available in the present moment. This is why it's so important not to allow our creative energy to be used worrying about the past or the future. When we have chronic negative thoughts about our own life, such as, I should have done that, I could have done that, I should have never done that, everything would have turned out better if I had only done that. Whenever we try to change the past with feelings of regret, guilt, shame, or self-hate, all we're doing is depleting our creative life energy in the present moment. When we're connected to those thoughts, what we're actually doing is saying to ourselves, I messed up my whole life and nothing's going to work from now on. And what we begin to do is we begin to live in a time warp. In our mind, yesterday was somehow filled with opportunities, and today all those opportunities are gone. Now, can you see the problem here? Can you see why we suffer needlessly? And what's worse is that we live by the perception that we cannot get the inner guidance that we need to work through it. And this is because we're not living in the present moment. Our energy is being sent to the wrong places. Notice that when you're feeling depressed, it's usually because you're unable to accept life as it is in the present moment. Freedom comes when we invest our energy in present time with a sense that yesterday was yesterday and today is today. It's in the full awareness of where we are, which includes observing where we are and where we're sending out our energy. This is what we must focus on. And do you see why? Because if you focus on what you're creating right now, you don't have to worry about the future. You don't ever have to worry about happy endings if you refuse an unhappy beginning. If we focus on what's happening in the present moment, happy endings will take care of themselves.